Hello everyone, this is Dr. Meenakshi Gupta from the Conceptual Pharmacology. Today I am going to take the therapeutic uses and adverse effect of the antipsychotic drug. So first I will be taking the adverse effect. Adverse effect, which is very commonly asked question in the examination. So coming to the adverse effect of the antipsychotic drug. So as I have already discussed, the antipsychotic drug, broadly we classify it into two. One is the typical or first generation antipsychotic drug, and the second one is a atypical or second generation antipsychotic drug. So first generation group, they mainly act by blocking D2 receptor, and whereas second generation or atypical, they mainly act by blocking 5-HT2 receptor. Now, by blocking the dopamine D2 receptor, this typical antipsychotic, they are going to produce the pharmacological effect as well as side effect. So, what pharmacological effect they are going to produce? So, effect will be there. Pharmacological effect, they are going to control the positive symptoms. Okay, whereas side effects, now you know how they are going to control the positive symptom. As in the previous video already I have explained, schizophrenia or psychosis, that is due to dopamine, excessive activity of dopamine in the mesolimbic pathway. ठीक है, यहाँ पे आपकी dopamine excessive activity that is there. So when we are going to give this D2 receptor blocker, they are going to decrease the activity over here. So by this they are going to control the positive symptom. But this D2 receptor blocking property of the typical antipsychotic, it is not selective. So they are going to block D2 receptor even at other site also, like mesocortical, nigrostriatal and tuberoinfundibular. So they are going to, by blocking the mesocortical here, they are going to aggravate the negative symptom. By blocking dopamine receptor at the nigrostriatal pathway, they are going to cause the extrapyramidal side effect, and by blocking this, they are going to increase the prolactin secretion. So what side effect will be there with this? There is increased extrapyramidal side effect and increased prolactin. What is the increased extrapyramidal side effect? This is related with the motor activity, and it is mainly seen with the more potent drugs. More potent typical antipsychotic drug, they are going to show this because they are going to block D2 receptor. So they are going to block D2 receptor here also at the nigrostriatal pathway and tuberoinfundibular pathway. So more potent typical antipsychotic drug, like what are those? Like haloperidol, we have fluphenazine. So it's phenothiazine में आपका that piperazine derivative, they are there, and butorphanol, they are high potent or more potent typical antipsychotic. Fluphenazine and trifluphenazine. Whereas if I take up the aliphatic side chain like chlorpromazine, or if I take up the thioridazine, which is a piperidine derivative, they are less potent. Now coming to the first one, what are extrapyramidal side effects they are seen with the typical antipsychotic drug? So early extrapyramidal side effect, that is acute muscle dystonia. So word acute, that means it is the first one to appear. It may happen within a few hours or within a day or with a single dose it can happen. And what muscle dystonia will be there? There are bizarre muscle spasm, very strange muscle spasm that will be seen in this patient. The patient may be tongue rolling will be there, tongue thrusting will be there, there may be torticollis may be there, grimacing will be there. So this type of symptoms they are seen in acute muscle dystonia, and it is seen very early. I think the first one to appear, the extrapyramidal side effect, that is acute muscle dystonia. And how to treat it? Remember one thing, in the because extrapyramidal side effect, this is due to blockade of D2 receptor in the nigrostriatal pathway, okay, or in the striatum, which is going to control the movement, coordinate the movement and control the muscle tone. Now, in the striatum or in the substantia nigra or striatum part, that there is a balance between two neurotransmitters. So, what are the balance? What is that balance between the two neurotransmitters? It is a balance between the dopamine and acetylcholine. So, balance is there. Once we are going to put the patient on the dopamine, this one, D2 receptor antagonist, then what will happen? This level will be decreased and acetylcholine level will be increased. So this level it is decreased, whereas this level it is increased. Now to restore the balance, what we can give? We can So to restore the balance, we can give the anticholinergic drug. So which anticholinergic drug we are going to put the patient? That is centrally acting anticholinergic drug, benhexazoline. So this is to be given for the treatment of acute muscle dystonia. So now another one is extrapyramidal side effect, that is number 2 is akathisia. Now what is akathisia? Akathisia, it is a purposeless movement of the person from here to there and without any anxiety. एक है कि किसी को anxiety है, something is there, then person is moving here and there. But here there is no anxiety. Without any anxiety, the person is moving here and there. That is a akathisia, the purposeless movement. This is the most common side effect because it is the incidence is 20% is seen. And here again we are going to put the patient on, because this is also, there is a dopamine receptor, that is there is deficiency of dopamine, so we are going to try to retain the balance. So again we are going to put the patient on centrally acting anticholinergic drug, that is benhexazoline. Now another extrapyramidal side effect, that is Parkinsonism. So in the Parkinsonism there will be rigidity will be there, tremors will be there, hypokinesia is there, mask-like face is there. So when it is appeared, usually in the, this we say few hours, this is in the second month, this is usually in the first month, okay, in 1 to 4 weeks, this is in 1 to 8 weeks, this is few hours, okay. So in Parkinsonism, these are the symptoms they are seen. Now what to give for the Parkinsonism? So usually for the Parkinsonism there are many drugs. So anti-Parkinsonian drug, must be reading in your book. So there are many type of anti-Parkinsonism drug, they are there. So Parkinsonism, again the cause is here, it is due to deficiency of dopamine. So that leads to Parkinsonism. So we can give the various drug which can increase the level of dopamine. There are various drugs, they are available. Now what all drugs available they are there? We have a levodopa, then we have a amantadine, we have a salicyline, we have a tolcapone. Okay. So these are the various drugs we have which act at a different site. Now none of these drugs, they are effective. Whatever you are reading for the drug which are used for the treatment of Parkinsonism, they are of no use here. Here what we are going to give, we are again, the treatment is here, it is a same. We are going to put the patient on this benhexol. So treatment for the drug-induced Parkinsonism, it is a centrally acting anticholinergic drug, that is a benhexol. So kabhi bhi aaya, the management of the Parkinsonism, you can write all these drugs, levodopa, but the management of the drug-induced Parkinsonism, so which drug it is going to cause the Parkinsonism? It is a antipsychotic, typical antipsychotic which acts by blocking the D2 receptor. Now why all these drugs they are not available? Let's see how the dopamine it is synthesized, released, and then it is going to act on the receptor. From the tyrosine, there is a synthesis of dopa, then dopamine, and this dopamine it is released and it is going to act on the D2 receptor. Okay, and here it is a tyrosine hydroxylase that is going to act here, dopa decarboxylase, right? So levodopa, we are giving a levodopa. This is a precursor once of dopamine. As dopamine, it cannot cross the blood-brain barrier, so we are going to give the levodopa. This is converted into dopamine. This is number 1 drug. Number 2 is amantadine. Amantadine, which is going to cause the release of this dopamine. Salicylic. Now this dopamine, once it is released, it is metabolized by enzyme MAO, B and COMT. Okay, monoamine oxidase B and COMT, these are the two enzymes, catechol O-methyl or 2-methyl transferase. So these are the two enzymes which causes the breakdown of this dopamine. And then this dopamine, now if I are going to give the levodopa or going to give this amantadine, or this is a here it is a salicylic which inhibit the breakdown, COMT inhibitor, that is tolcapone. If we give all these drugs, but here for the drug induced Parkinsonism, the cause is there is a D2 receptor, they are blocked. So even if we are going to give this drug, so this drug it is going to provide the dopamine, but this dopamine it won't be able to act on the D2 receptor because receptor they are blocked. Amantadine आपने दी वो भी नहीं काम करेगी because receptor they are blocked. Even if you are going to give the inhibitor, then again the receptor they are blocked. So what is the treatment here? Here again we are going to give achieve the balance. So in the striatum, already I have told, there is a balance between the dopamine and acetylcholine. Once this is decreased, so there is a relatively acetylcholine, it is a relative increase of the cholinergic activity. So by giving the anticholinergic drug, we are going to achieve this one. So here this is a decreased and this is increased acetylcholine, and we are going to report the patient on anticholinergic drug. So this is extrapyramidal side effect, the early one. Okay. Now what are the other extrapyramidal side effects which appear late? That is, number 1 is rabbit syndrome. So why it is called rabbit syndrome? So here it is a perioral tumor. They say, sorry, not perioral tumor, it's a perioral tremors. Like a rabbit, if you see the rabbit, continuously they will be moving their mouth. So perioral tremors, they are seen here. That's why it is named so. Here also we are putting the patient on benhexol. Then another one is a malignant neuroleptic syndrome. So it is a malignant, so there will be, that means it is serious, it occurs, so all these they appear late. Okay? So rabbit tumor, malignant neuroleptic syndrome, they all appear late. Once your patient is on the typical antipsychotic drug for years, then it, and this is also rare. It is seen rarely. So here what all symptoms patient will be having? Patient will be having fever, then autonomic instability, like fluctuation in the blood pressure, rise in myoglobin, that means there is a breakdown of the muscle that is there. Okay, and now what is the cause? Cause can be central or peripheral. Central is, it is because of the D2 receptor, and peripheral is, they say it is going to act on the neuromuscular transmission. So what it is going to do, it is going to cause the release of huge amount of calcium from the sarcoplasmic reticulum, and this is going to cause the rigidity of the muscles, so rises fever, autonomic instability, fluctuation in the blood pressure, muscle rigidity will be there. Okay, so muscle contraction will be there, so we have to give the drug which is going to cause that movement of the calcium again back to the sarcoplasmic reticulum. So what treatment we are going to give here, it is not the centrally acting anticholinergic drug. Here we are going to give a symptomatic treatment. आप वो दोगे symptomatic treatment, like we are going to give the for the fever, antipyretic देंगे. If there is a fluctuation in the blood pressure, we have to manage that. And another drug is IV dantrolene. Okay, this is a direct acting muscle relaxant which is going to cause a movement of the calcium again back to the sarcoplasmic reticulum. So one is Rabbit syndrome, other one is a malignant neurolapse syndrome, and the third is we have a tardive dyskinesia. Tardive means which comes late. Okay, after many years, and sometimes even if the patient is not taking the neuroleptic drug, then this thing happens. So this is the one which is due to all of the earlier extrapyramidal side effect. They are due to deficiency of, they are due to blockade of D2 receptor, and this is the one which is due to supersensitivity of dopamine receptor. Now, one basic concept in pharmacology we teach you whenever we are going to give antagonistic drug. So, antagonist drug, what they here we are giving D2 receptor antagonist. So, what they are going to do? They are going to cause a supersensitivity of the dopamine receptor. So, there will be upregulation of the receptor. Okay, so now because there is upregulation or supersensitivity of the dopamine receptor, so a small amount of the dopamine, it is going to produce a lot of symptoms. So here the patient, what kind of movement will be there, as if patient is chewing gum, उसका मुंह हर वक्त चलता रहता है, so that kind of symptoms will be seen in tardive dyskinesia. Now how to treat it? Here again we can put the patient on D2 receptor antagonist. So because that is the cause, so we cannot give that. So we can change. अगर patient को फिर से जरूरत पड़ती, we can put the patient on atypical antipsychotic. So because it is because of the supersensitivity of the dopamine receptor, so we are going to put the patient on the drug which can deplete the presynaptic store of the dopamine. Okay, so drug which act by depleting the presynaptic store of dopamine. So we have a VMAT2 inhibitor, vesicular monoamine transporter 2 inhibitor. So we have a deutetrabenazine and valbenazine. So these are the latest drug which is approved by FDA for the tardive dyskinesia. So these are the extrapyramidal side effects. So extrapyramidal side effect, they are also commonly asked. So side effect of the typical antipsychotic side effect of the antipsychotic drug, that is important. Side effect of the chlorpromazine, which is a typical antipsychotic and it is a low potency antipsychotic drug, that is also very commonly asked. And extrapyramidal side effect of the antipsychotic drug, that is asked separately. If you get a separate question, then you must mention the early side effect and the late extrapyramidal side effect. Okay, so these extrapyramidal side effect and this increased prolactin, they are seen with the potent D2 receptor blocker like haloperidol and fluphenazine. Now increased, so extrapyramidal side effect, this I have done, increased prolactin. So this is because of the D2 receptor blockade in the triboinfundibular pathway. So in the hypothalamus, dopamine it act as a PIH. ठीक है, hypothalamus में dopamine कैसे act करती है? It act as a PIH, prolactin inhibitory hormone. So if dopamine it is going to act as a prolactin inhibitory hormone, so if we are going to block this dopamine, then what will happen? This inhibitory control, that is not there. So there will be hyperprolactinemia. So what are the other hormones which are affected? That is the gonadotropin. It is going to decrease the level of gonadotropin. So there will be amenorrhea, infertility, and in the men there will be hyperprolactinemia, there will be galactorrhea, gynecomastia. So but that is not very common. But hyperprolactinemia, that is very commonly seen with the potent D2 receptor blocker, and it is with the typical. In the atypical, there is a one drug which blocks D2 receptor, that is risperidone. So atypical mein which one is a risperidone? This also shows the hyperprolactinemia. Now with the low potency D2 receptor blocker, ठीक है, जो आपकी less potent है, like chlorpromazine, that is there, ठीक है. What will, and thioridazine, आपकी chlorpromazine and thioridazine, which shows less this extrapyramidal side effect and hyperprolactinemia, that is seen less. But other side effect, like they block the muscarinic receptor. So muscarinic receptor, by blocking the muscarinic, they are going to produce the anticholinergic side effects. So what will be there? There will be dry mouth, blurring of the vision, constipation, urinary retention. Then they act by blocking the alpha-1 receptor. By blocking the alpha-1 receptor, there will be decrease in blood pressure. So hypotension will be there. Because of hypotension, there will be reflex tachycardia. Okay? So, and impaired ejaculation, that will be also seen because of this alpha blockade. Then H1 receptor blockade. With this, what will happen? Patient will be having sedation. Okay? So patient will be having sedation, there may be mental clouding can happen, and even seizure precipitating, that is also very commonly seen with this. Then metabolic complications. So metabolic complication, that is mainly seen with the atypical or a second generation, but there are few of this like thioridazine, chlorpromazine, they also show this metabolic complication. Once I will be discussing what are the metabolic complications with the atypical very shortly, you will come to know. So this is with the typical or D2 receptor blocker or first generation antipsychotic drug, the side effect which is seen with both the potent and less potent, this one. Now coming to the atypical or second generation, which is going to act by blocking the 5-HT2. Now what effects they are going to show? They are going to take care of, reduce the both positive and negative symptoms, but mainly it is a negative symptoms. And which 5-HT2 receptor they are going to block? They are mainly going to block 5-HT2A or 2C. Now what side effect they are going to show? Especially these side effects will be seen with the clozapine, olanzapine and quetiapine. So metabolic complication they are seen with this. So what will be there? Because of this 2C, there will be weight gain. Then precipitation of diabetes, and increased level of triglyceride. So these are the metabolic complications which are seen with the atypical or a second generation antipsychotic drug. Okay. Now what are the other side effects, miscellaneous side effect which is seen by this? So miscellaneous side effect like with the chlorpromazine, cholestatic, jaundice, then hypersensitivity reaction, urticaria, contact dermatitis. Okay, so these are seen with the chlorpromazine. Then agranulocytosis with the clozapine. This is seen with the clozapine. And another is hypersalivation. This is a central action. This is seen with the clozapine. Otherwise, usually the drug, this blocks the muscarinic receptor. Clozapine, it also blocks the muscarinic receptor, but instead of causing the dry mouth, it causes the hypersalivation. So this is with the atypical or a second generation antipsychotic drug which is showing this side effect. So with the typical, with the atypical, and with the miscellaneous. So with the typical, you have to remember with the potent, it is going to mainly decrease this, causing extrapyramidal and prolactin. With the less potent, all these, with the 5-HT, this metabolic complication, and these are the miscellaneous side effect. So this is about the all about the side effect of the antipsychotic drug. Now coming to the therapeutic uses of the antipsychotic drug. So we can use it for the psychiatric indication, neuropsychiatric, and non-psychiatric. Under the psychiatric indication, we have a psychosis. So it can be schizophrenia, schizoaffective, organic brain syndrome, then anxiety, and acute mania. So under the organic brain syndrome, so usually it is not very limited role in the organic brain syndrome like dementia, delirium. So they have got a very limited efficacy for this. Okay? So if we want to use for the organic brain syndrome, we have to put the patient on high potency. So, you know, I have told you about the side effect. With the high potency drug, what is there? The anticholinergic side effect, they are less. So because anticholinergic side effect, they are going to aggravate this dementia and delirium. So we are not going to put the patient on low potency. We are going to put the patient on high potency or atypical antipsychotic. High potency like haloperidol or fluphenazine. Okay, so this is about the organic brain syndrome. Now coming to the psychosis. So psychosis may, if it is a schizophrenia, now what are all the drugs we can give, how we can treat the patient with the schizophrenia. So with the schizophrenia or the functional psychosis, it all depends. Now we have a long list of antipsychotic drug. We have a typical, we have a atypical. Now what are the things which are going to decide which one is to be given to the patient? So a patient with the schizophrenia, it all depends what is the presenting symptom or presenting complaint of the patient. So on this, the drug we are going to decide. Then any associated problem or any associated mood state, if the patient is having depression or patient is having any mania, then which side effect is acceptable to the patient? Now we know typical they have a different set of side effect. Atypical they have a different side effect. Okay. But still, if we have to choose from the typical or atypical, the atypical one they are preferred over the typical. Why? Because of the lesser side effect. Which lesser side effect? Lesser extrapyramidal side effect. Suppose if a chronic schizophrenia patient, we have to put the patient on a drug for a long time. We can prevent the tardive dyskinesia. उसको कभी भी नहीं होगा. So definitely atypical antipsychotic they are to be preferred. And can we give 2 or 3? The 2 drugs, it's not very much, it's not very advantageous to give 2 or 3 drugs. But still, if the patient is taking one drug for the maintenance therapy, and in between patient comes with the acute or agitative attack, then we can give definitely the IV olanzapine or IV haloperidol can be given. Okay? So these are the things how we can decide. Now different once we are going to put the patient on antipsychotic drug, definitely they are going to take care of both positive and negative symptoms. These will be gone. Then behavior will be normalized, but no effect on the intellect. Cognition or intellect पे इसका कोई effect नहीं है. Intellect and cognition. Now, which drug is to be given to which patient? Okay? So, depending upon the presenting complaint, like suppose the patient is violent, agitated, and ready to fight, combative. Definitely high potency drug आप दोगे patient को, or we can give the atypical antipsychotic. Atypical antipsychotic, we can put the patient on olanzapine, we can put the patient on aripiprazole, risperidone, and quetiapine. Now, if the patient is withdrawn and apathetic, then again atypical will be preferred. Where you don't want extrapyramidal side effect. Extrapyramidal side effect, that is a big no. Here we are going to put the patient on atypical or less potent antipsychotic drug like chlorpromazine or thironidazole. वो हम देंगे patient को. Patient with the psychotic patient with the depression. ठीक है? Psychosis के साथ patient को depression भी है. Then we are giving the patient on tricyclic antidepressant or SSRI. These are the antidepressant drug. Along with that, we are going to put the patient on atypical antipsychotic quetiapine. ये दे सकते हैं हम patient को. ठीक है? So where the patient is on for all the resistant cases, जहाँ पे patient को कुछ भी resistant cases में, there we can put the patient on. This is a clozapine. That is very effective for the resistant cases. And where the patient is having mania, here also the atypical antipsychotic that is given. Aripiprazole, risperidone, we can put the patient on olanzapine and we can put the patient on quetiapine. Okay? Along with this, we can put the patient on valproate or a lithium. Suppose if it is an elderly patient, जहाँ पे हमें ये है sedation, mental confusion, all these we want to avoid. So sedation, mental confusion, all these with the or anticholinergic side effect, these are seen with the low potency drug. So elderly patient where you don't want mental confusion, where you don't want anticholinergic side effect, ठीक है, any urinary retention and all that. So we avoid to put the patient on low potency drug. Thironidazole, we are not, that is a big no. Or you give either high potency haloperidol, fluphenazine, or you put the patient on atypical antipsychotic drug. So this is number one. So now where else we are going to put the patient on this? Then another one is a mania. If the patient is schizoaffective, schizoaffective में So here we are going to put the patient on a broad spectrum antipsychotic for the schizoaffective disorder. The broader spectrum olanzapine, this is the drug of choice. Now for the acute mania, now for the treatment of acute mania, we are going to put the patient on atypical antipsychotic. सबसे पहले उसको we are going to put the patient on antipsychotic, not atypical or typical, or that too potent antipsychotic. For the acute mania, we can give either parenteral. So parenteral हम क्या देंगे patient को? With the parenteral, we can give a IM, haloperidol or olanzapine. So effect will be evident within 1 to 3 days. Or if you want to give a oral, which is going to take the time, we can give the atypical antipsychotic. So olanzapine can be given, aripiprazole, risperidone, quetiapine, that can be given. So with the atypical antipsychotic, because it's a mania, so we can give a mood stabilizing drug along with this, like the lithium or valproate. It can be given in the beginning or once the acute attack is over, then we can start. So once we start it, then slowly, जब आपने ये start कर दी, slowly we withdraw this atypical antipsychotic with a period of 1 to 3 months. This is how we treat the acute mania. Then anxiety. So for the anxiety, again the drug of choice, that is a benzodiazepine. But in a few patients we can give a atypical antipsychotic drug. So this is a psychiatric indication of this. Now coming to the neuropsychiatric indications, these are all movement disorder. Tourette syndrome, इसको बोलते हैं Ghillie-Della Tourette syndrome. Here what will happen here? It is a phonic tic. आवाज में आता है patient का ना. So that is there. It is seen in the children. And here what we give a behavioral therapy. That is number 1. And otherwise we can put the patient here also the atypical antipsychotic as well as typical. So potent drug they are given fluphenazine or haloperidol, that is a typical, and atypical may we put the patient on aripiprazole, risperidone and quetiapine. And these are the other indication: Huntington disease and alcoholic hallucinosis. These are the other indication of this antipsychotic drug. Now coming to non-psychiatric indication. So number 1 is the antiemetic. These are the drugs which are used as antiemetic. They act by blocking the G2 receptor. Rather, these two, domperidone and metoclopramide, they do not exert antipsychotic effect. They mainly block G2 receptor. Okay, in the CTZ, say they exert the antiemetic drug. So this is one video on the antiemetic drug. I will be giving that one as an end screen. If you haven't seen that, you can watch that video. Okay. So other one is a phenothiazine, promethazine. They have got this muscarinic activity, anticholinergic activity. That is the reason we use it as an antiemetic. But otherwise, antipsychotic drug, अगर मैं chlorpromazine करूँ या कोई और, it is not used. This one is used, but that is not used because of the other better drug like 5-HT3 antagonists. They are used. Okay. So then in a motion sickness, because already I've told promethazine, this is the one which has got the anti-muscarinic, antihistaminic activity, be anti-muscarinic activity. So because of that, so muscarinic anticholinergic activity, that is the main, it is used for the motion sickness. So these are the therapeutic uses of the antipsychotic drug. Now you can see the other effect, like other uses for the pre-anesthetic medication. We can use then neuroleptic. Here this is an opioid analgesic and this is a neuroleptic drug. So combination we use. Then chlorpromazine for the intractable hiccups, and for the tetanus, chlorpromazine, that is the alternative drug. So that's all about the therapeutic uses and adverse effect of the antipsychotic drug. Now you can see the important question which is usually asked from this topic. Number one, the most important is adverse effect of this chlorpromazine. And out of the adverse effect, they can ask separately the extrapyramidal adverse effect of chlorpromazine, then malignant neuroleptic syndrome, that is the same thing. So malignant neuroleptic syndrome, that is also seen with the other drug, halothane and succinyl choline. And one I have told with the antipsychotic chlorpromazine, that is seen with this. So these are the three group of drugs by which we can see the neuroleptic malignant syndrome, and the same sign and symptom, they are same, treatment it is same, whether it is due to this or it is due to this. Then tardive dyskinesia, what is the FDA approved, that may be asked as an MCQ. Then a short note on clozapine, this is used as a resistant cases, hypersalivation आपने इसमें mention करना है, एक granulocytosis, ठीक है. Then aripiprazole, this is important because it's a partial agonist. This I have already covered in my previous video. You can go and watch. I will be giving link in the description box. Then atypical antipsychotic as such. These are also atypical antipsychotic, but atypical antipsychotic as such also has a short note. Then classification and mechanism, they are also important, but if I go a sequence wise, this is the most important and this is the less important. Then treatment of the drug induced Parkinsonism. Here we are going to put the patient on centrally acting anticholinergic drug. So if you like my video, please give a big thumbs up and share it and subscribe my channel.